In the early days of the internet, finding information was like walking into a massive library where every book had been dumped on the floor. Everything existed, but nothing was organized. People relied on simple directories, basic search tools, or word matching engines that showed results based on how many times a keyword appeared on a page. The more a word was repeated, the higher that page ranked, even if it was useless. The internet was growing fast, but the way humans accessed it was still primitive. Two graduate students at Stanford University, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, looked at this chaos and asked a different question. Instead of asking what words appeared on a page, they asked who was linking to it. They realized that links were like votes. If many important websites linked to a page, it was probably important too. This simple but powerful idea became the foundation of a new system called PageRank. It didn't just count information, it judged credibility. They built a prototype in their dorm room. It was slow, messy, and ran on cheap computers stacked together. But what it produced was something no one had seen before: search results that actually made sense. When you typed something, the best answers appeared at the top. Not because someone paid for it, not because someone stuffed keywords, but because the internet itself had voted for it. They called their project Google, a misspelling of Google, a word that represents the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. The name was symbolic. They weren't just building a search engine, they were trying to organize an almost infinite amount of information. At first, Google was just another startup in a crowded field. Big companies like Yahoo and Microsoft already dominated the web. But Google had something the others didn't: trust. Users noticed that Google's results felt clean, honest, and useful. There were no flashy banners on the homepage, no distractions, just a simple box and a promise that it would give you what you were looking for. As more people used Google, more data flowed into it, and that data made the search engine smarter. It learned what people clicked, what they ignored, how long they stayed on a page. Every search made the system better. This created a powerful feedback loop. Better results brought more users created more data improved the algorithm, and that made Google even better. Soon, being visible on Google meant being visible on the internet. If your website was not on the first page of Google, for most people, it did not exist. Businesses began to realize this. News companies realized it. Governments realized it. Google was no longer just a tool, it had become a gatekeeper. But Google didn't stop at search. It expanded into email with Gmail. It entered Maps. It created a browser. It bought YouTube. Every move pulled more of the internet into its ecosystem. The more services people used, the more data Google collected, and the more data it collected, the more powerful its understanding of human behavior became. Then came advertising. Google discovered that search intent was incredibly valuable. When someone typed "best phone under $500," they were not just searching, they were about to buy. Google built an advertising system that let companies place ads exactly at the moment a person was ready to make a decision. This turned Google into a money machine. Billions of dollars flowed in, not from users, but from companies desperate to appear in front of them. This changed the nature of the internet. Websites began to write content not for humans, but for Google's algorithm. Headlines were crafted to rank higher. Articles were optimized for keywords. Entire industries were built around something called SEO, search engine optimization, all focused on one company's formula for relevance. Slowly, quietly, Google became something no one had voted for, but everyone depended on. It decided what was visible and what was invisible, what information rose to the top and what sank into digital darkness. When Google changed its algorithm, millions of websites could lose their traffic overnight. Businesses could collapse. Careers could vanish. No law was passed, no election was held, just a tweak in code. And then there was data. Every search you typed revealed something about you: your fears, your desires, your problems, your plans. Google knew what you were thinking about before you told anyone else. Over time, it built one of the most detailed psychological maps of humanity ever created, not by spying, but by being useful. This raised a dangerous question. When one company knows so much about everyone and controls how information flows, who really has power? Is it governments, or is it the gatekeeper of knowledge? Google's influence became so deep that even truth itself started to feel shaped by Google. People didn't ask what is true, they asked, what does Google say? If something didn't show up in search results, many assumed it wasn't important or real. What began as a student project to clean up messy data had turned into a silent empire, not built with soldiers or weapons, but with algorithms and servers, not forcing people, but attracting them. Today, Google doesn't just help you find information, it decides which information you are most likely to see. And in a world where attention is power, that makes Google one of the most powerful forces in human history. All of this started with a simple idea in a dorm room, that links could measure trust. But that idea grew into something far bigger, a system that doesn't just reflect the internet, but shapes it. A gatekeeper that stands between humanity and its own knowledge, quietly deciding what we see, what we ignore, and what we believe.